Hello, and thank you for having me as part of the TechBridge Entrepreneur Institute. Before we get started, I just want to say how excited I am to discuss with you one of my most favorite topics, digital marketing, and more specifically about the visibility for your future small business website. And we can get into so many details that have to do with visibility and getting found online. Google currently owns about 75% of the search market. So this is one of the main reasons why it's so important to follow within Google guidelines while creating and deploying your website. It's also important to keep up with any large algorithm updates to ensure compliance. These large updates can happen on average about 3-4 times a year. And the main focus of these updates are to reorganize ranked websites to ensure that the searcher is finding the appropriate information that they're looking for. We call this searcher or user intent. User intent refers to the need to focus on the end user of the website, while also staying within the Google compliant guidelines. Improving your website's chances of standing out online is exactly what we'll dive into today. So a little bit about me. I am born and raised in NEPA. I am a Wilkes-Barre area grad. I went to Solomon, Coughlin, and I'm a King's College alum. I majored in marketing. And I currently work at web.com. Web.com is a hosting company. Our office is out of Drums, Pennsylvania. Our headquarters is in Jacksonville. And right now I'm working as the manager for online marketing with a focus on team and customer growth. So what that means to me is bridging the gap between the products that we're offering small businesses and the customer and exactly what their needs are. So, our job is to try to figure out what they need before they even know what they need so that we can make sure that we fill that gap. Lastly, I love cats and digital marketing. On the right there is my cat, Duke, who loves to help me at work every day. He may make an appearance, so just keeping that in mind. And I also have my LinkedIn handle here. Please feel free to connect, reach out. I am more than happy to answer any questions or anything like that. So the best place to hide a dead body is page 2 of Google. If I could think of one all-encompassing phrase to go with website visibility, it would be this one. When is the last time that you probably went to page 2 of Google without a really specific reason? Probably not too often. So that's really our goal of everything that we're talking about today, is really to be number 1 on the first page, or at least top 10. Google search engine results pages, or SERPs, are ordered in rank by determining by the algorithm to ensure that the end user receive the answer to their query. This query can be called keyword searches or keyword phrases, but I think query is a better representation about what the user is doing when they enter and their thoughts into the search bar. First things first, would be better to understand what your website is already doing or ranking, and if you don't have a website, how your competition is doing and ranking. So one of the best ways to do this is by adding your business industry and your location into the search bar and seeing what you find. This is really your online competition, not necessarily your real life competition, but this is who you're competing with on the first page of what you want to be ranking for. There are also so many SEO tools that can really help you better understand what you're looking at. So I do have at the end of this presentation, I'll go through a few, and you can subscribe to anything that you're interested in, and most of them are free. Once you have an idea about how your website is performing against your SERP competition, then we can move on to hack number 1. Hack number 1, it may seem outdated or obvious, but blogging is still a great way to communicate with your customers. But it does actually a whole lot more than just inform customers. It also tells Google that you are an authority on your topic. There are many different types of blogs, as well as tones and topics, really dependent upon your business. Best practice would be a bare minimum of 1 post per week. This would mean posting 3-4 times a week, depending on your industry and how much your users want to indulge in your content. The best It's important to keep in mind as well that 70% of the blog posts that you're currently reading were not published in the month that you're reading them. So you're reading blogs that were probably published previously. And now that you're reading them, that's when you're getting that interaction and reach. So as things gain popularity, they tend to get more interest. So if you think about it and you post a blog and you immediately don't see a reaction, do not take down the blog. This would be a form of evergreen content, which just grows and grows and lives on your website, and Google can crawl it and people can find what they're looking for at a later date. Links are the secondary reason that you should blog. So links are created by other trusted websites linking from their website back to yours with relevant content. So this process can be a great signal to Google that your content is trusted and reliable, especially if it's coming from another trusted source. It's like a big thumbs up, like this is the place to go. Here we'll see an infographic. So why blogging is good for your business. I'll just point out a few of these, but small businesses with blogs generate about 126% more leads, and that is huge. Most interesting content is from your blogs, and then you post them on social media, and they actually become the most popular social posts as well. So it's kind of like double dipping. 81% of US consumers trust advice and information from blogs. So think about it. The last time that you searched for something and you really needed an answer, you probably found it in a blog. And if you didn't, you found it on the front page of Google where they pulled it from a blog. B2B marketers using blogs generate about 67% more leads. And websites with blogs have 97% more index links. So this means the more pages that you have, the more that Google can then index all of those pages of your website, giving you more chances to rank. Hack number 2, learn some SEO 101. For the simple fact that you're here with us today, it probably means that you care about the visibility of your future business or your business's website. And by extension, you should care about search engine optimization, or SEO. The SEO quality of your website is extremely important, as organic search on Google is the primary source of website traffic. This is over social media, over paid campaigns of any kind. Organic is still number one. SEO builds trust and credibility, and a few ways to increase credibility are through quality backlink profiles, like we just talked about, positive user behavior on your website. So this would mean that your person is going onto your website, finding the information that they're looking for, even maybe finding information that they weren't looking for that they still also enjoy, or even moving around your site. Fill out a form. They could possibly even add something to the cart and purchase if you're an e-com website. These are all positive indicators to Google that your website is what it promises it is. And then finally, optimized on-page website elements. So this would include content, metas, really anything that your customer would see once it goes onto your website. All of those can be optimized as well. And here's kind of the, I'm going to call it basic simple structure of an SEO strategy. There are thousands upon thousands of SEO factors to consider. You do not need to know them all. But if you fall within these 3 categories and can kind of have a basic understanding of each of them, you could do really, really well on your website. So the first one is on-page SEO. So this includes all things directly on your website. Content, meta descriptions. So that's from the search results page, that little blurb about your website, and then the title tag, so the link that you're clicking on. Both of those you can optimize to be whatever you would like them to be, within reason, I'm pretty sure. So taking advantage of that and optimizing that content can make a really big difference. Content on your website also matters, and the way that you present that content also matters. So the types of content that do well on the SERPs are things like lists, direct quotes, Question and answer style, FAQs are hugely popular. If you go into a search and you see it already gives you an answer even before you press enter, or you get that box at the very top, the featured snippet, 90% of the time that is because the exact question that you asked was asked and answered in another post. And by becoming one of those featured snippets or one of those top level articles, you're automatically in the top 10 positions because that's how Google decides, what information is most relevant for that user. And then finally, another type of content that Google really likes is anything super organized, anything with a header and then, all of your points laid out really just as you would like to see. So if you go onto a website and you can scroll through, you can get the idea of what you're looking at very quickly, and it's very digestible. That's exactly how Google wants to look at it too. Next is off-page SEO. So this is the way that the website increases relevancy, trustworthiness, and authority online. And this is what we talked about previously with the link building. So creating these links back to your website from other reputable sources. This can include anything from listings, directories, your Yelp page, really anywhere that you're sharing your content and then someone else is linking back to it, that can provide a link. You can do this through friendly links. So these would be things like other businesses or news articles that are local to you. If they're linking back to your business, those are all really, really great, credible sources. And so they give Google the thumbs up that you are a really good site. Third is technical SEO. So technical SEO refers to website and server optimizations, and they help the search engine spiders actually crawl and index your site more effectively. So if you imagine an actual spider just crawling down a web of the back of your website, that's really what you're doing. And when you can create all of these technical elements, you're creating a really solid web that it's able to kind of move down very quickly. If there's big holes missing in the web or there's areas where it can't get to, we call these like orphan pages, or they're, not easily accessed content, Google will just skip it and just leave your site because it doesn't want to work that hard to get through the web. So ways that you can do this are an XML sitemap. So this is where you're pretty much sending a folder to Google and saying, hey, here are all of my pages in a lovely order, and you should look at them. And robots.txt excludes the pages that you don't need Google to look at. You don't need to worry about my forms page. There's nothing on there. Next is URL structure. So if the website is mywebsite.com/blogs, you know exactly what's going to be on that page. And having the content match that structure is also really important. 404s and 301 redirects. So we have all come across a 404, which is when you get, whoops, so sorry, this page no longer exists, and it's a horrible user experience. So creating those redirects, having something to direct you to the new page is extremely, extremely important because you don't want Google or your users to just leave the site. Hack number 3, content, content, content. I think you'll hear me say this a lot, but content is so important for your website and it will continue to be over time. Using content and other on-page factors can be extremely, extremely important. As of 2019, 1 billion web pages currently exist. More than 2 million blog posts are posted each and every day. 71,000 videos are viewed every second. And there are 3.5 billion, yes, that's billion with a B, Google searches daily. And you want your piece of the pie. This is a good illustration of how SEO and content, their two worlds merge together. So SEO will state the requirements for what the website should have. Content marketing fulfills them. SEO looks at the website as a whole group from the perspective of the searcher. So this would include Googlebot, algorithm, and most importantly, your customers. Content marketing creates a path to creative success with a content calendar then. So that's designed to enrich the user experience. SEO looks at keywords that are performing well, and the SERPs and the topics covered on competitive websites. So these are all of those queries that people are asking. That's what SEO is looking at. Whereas content marketing brings both of those worlds together by placing these keyword phrases or answers to queries within the content. These two worlds really work well when they're in harmony. So speaking back and forth, having opinions back and forth. And if you're one person creating content and optimizing SEO, then it's all you. So congratulations, you're your own soulmate. And hack number 4, winning customer reviews online. When we think about SEO, reviews from customers aren't often the first thing that we think about. With all the major SEO things to focus on, so we talked about the link building and the technical SEO and the content writing, all of these things are very important, but reviews don't get as much attention. They just think that they should happen maybe organically, like someone just feels like, oh my gosh, I have to write a review about whatever this service or product was. But really, businesses should take them a bit more seriously sometimes, and especially local businesses is one of the number one ways that you get customers is through positive reviews online. So on the right here, we can see this is a search engine results page, so SERPs, and I'm pretty sure we're all very familiar with this idea. You want to shop near me, you want to find a pizza near me, you want to find a coffee near me, and you get this list of a lovely map in all the places that are fairly close to you. But have you ever stopped to think what makes it so that those businesses end up in those positions? Maybe there's a business that's closer, but why are they showing this way? Google likes to do things called Google 3-pack, 5-pack. They also like change the name all the time. So currently it's a 3-pack, and that's what we're looking at right now. So Google really likes when the end user likes what they are looking at. So they do this by sorting the algorithm with the most helpful, useful, most enjoyed, most visited content at the very top. So then when they're looking at businesses and sorting based on what business should come first in a listing like this, you're looking at GMB reviews or Google My Business. And these are the reviews and the stars that we see here on the right. So why do reviews really matter? Simply put, Google trusts your customers more than they trust you. Side note, future customers will also trust your customers more than they trust you. So it's very advantageous to be on top of your reviews. Some ways that we look at websites and how they're ranking is by links, like we talked about. But in this case, and especially local SEO, it's always by reviews. Keep in mind that Google loves to read. More content does not always mean better, but in this case, it's a good start. So more content is more in this case. Over time, you may decide that you want to ramp down how much content you're writing. Maybe you're not feeling like that is the best use of your time. But in the beginning, creating, cultivating content can be the number one thing that makes your website stand out above others. So great reviews, like we see here on the right, lead to these pretty little stars on the page, which then lead to more clicks to your website, which means more business for you. So really your customers are just like you. Would you choose a plumber with a 1-star rating over a 5-star rating? Probably not unless you like a leaky pipe. And finally, hack number 5, get social. So SEO, social, and visibility all have one thing in common: enhanced content for the betterment of the end user. Social media can easily be enhanced to ensure that your company is in front of the right people at the right time. Some of the initial groundwork begins with optimizing your social media profiles. So each of your profiles should be consistent from platform to platform. This includes profile picture, cover photo, if that's applicable, the About Me section. Your name, address, and phone number need to be like verbatim, exactly the same. And once you have the basics, it's best to post regularly. This will build an online community of individuals who truly support you and your business and are interested in what you have to say. So posting regularly, what does that really mean? Well, this once again kind of depends on your industry. Here's averages. So Twitter, you can post anywhere from 3 tweets a week to 30 tweets a week to 300 if there's something that you really have to say. LinkedIn, you looking at probably 1, 3, 5 per week would probably be the max there. And then Facebook and Instagram, they are based entirely on users interacting with your page. So posting as often as possible and getting people to interact with your posts and images and videos, that's number one there. So posting at least 3, 5 times per week, that would be optimal. So now that you're more familiar with the how and when to post on social, let's look at the why. So here we have on the left, so viewers who like a company's video online are 90% more likely to make a purchase. So getting that engagement is super important. Interacting with consumers on social media is also important for a marketing strategy in any small business. Using social media builds brand awareness, increases your customer base, and helps you connect with your current customers on a more real level. Social media success does not depend on how many followers your business has. I'm going to repeat that because that one's really important. Social media success does not depend on how many followers your business has. Instead, it's really dependent on your customer engagement. This is because the algorithms love engagement. So the more engagement you have, the more they're going to share your content, the more people that are going to enjoy it as well, and so on and so forth. This can actually be a really doable process for many small businesses. So I'll give you a few reasons here, but small businesses are both community and individual focused. So being involved in the community can have very positive impacts on your business, of course. Now, sharing that love onto social media then shows people outside of your community, possibly, that you also have this heart and joy that you bring to your business. It's a very cost-effective approach. Organic social media posting and community building is really free. You can post, comment, create videos and images for little to no expense. It can also be a little less time consuming if you're a small business that has multiple channels that they're trying to keep up with. So having to post on different social media platforms can seem a bit overwhelming at first. But the truth is you can create this storage hub, I'm going to call it, of content that you're writing. So this could be company blogs, company updates, like little about me sections of maybe employees or yourself, fun tidbits, images. They can all be stored on a folder on your desktop. That's your hub. So when you have all of these different places that you're posting, you can just pull from your hub as you go and post wherever you feel like posting that type of post. But unless there's like an event or something coming up that you really want people to know about, consider not posting the same exact content to every social profile. So inevitably, you're going to have a few customers who probably follow most, like all or a few of your social. So they will see the same posts over and over, and they're more likely to disengage, and they're also more likely to unfollow. So if you can, switch it up, pull from your hub, keep it fresh as best you can. And finally, small businesses can really keep it personal. So having a social media page for a small business can then feel more like a creative endeavor than a really cumbersome, calculated strategy move. Keep it light, keep it personal, and keep it fun. Social media always works best when you are authentically you. On the right of this screen, we can see a little form that gives us a better idea as of January 2020, how platforms are doing, and this is across the world. So Facebook is still residing and living at #1, and I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. I know it feels like different generations are kind of latching on to Facebook at different times, but you really can't fight the numbers, and really your time is very well spent on something like Facebook. YouTube is also up there, so your video creation tools are going to be a huge asset to you. Even if that's just grabbing your camera on your phone and snapping a quick video and posting it to your socials, that can do a world of good. So make sure to stay open and honest with your customers. So this is a bit of a recap about what we talked about here. So link like blog, make sure to make that blog really all about you and exactly what you want to talk about. And then encourage people to like it or comment or share it on social, and create those links from that blog. Learn a little bit of SEO 101. For me, it's a very fascinating topic, but I understand it is not for everyone. But it is something that can be super beneficial to your website at a very low cost, um, if no cost, if you know what you're doing. Content, content, content. I feel like that is the theme of today's presentation. Creating good, thoughtful, creative content for anything that you're posting online is super, super important. Winning those customer reviews. Just ask. There is no harm in asking. We don't want to torture customers, but hey, it really helps me out if you just go on to Google and give 5 stars. I would greatly appreciate it. Especially as a local business, especially as a startup or a small business, or an individual, you're going to get a lot of really great reviews as long as you treat your customers the way you want to be treated. And lastly, get social. If you do not already have a social for your businesses, you are missing out. If you have a future business in mind, also get started. So you can create these social profiles. You can change them as your life changes, as your business changes, and you can continue to evolve that social and that network as you go. So then you can say things like, hey, if you were here with me at the beginning, and these are now talking to your 1.5 million followers, which is wonderful. Lastly, this is the tool section that I talked about earlier. So these are some visibility tools that I absolutely love and use on a daily basis. So the first and foremost is really for the very basics of SEO. Moz is like the holy grail of all things SEO, and their beginner's guide is completely free. So it's, you really read through a lot of it, but they also have a ton of videos, blogs, how-tos, infographics, all things that you would need. So feel free to subscribe there. The next two are more for seasoned SEO or really digging into like the analytics of what you're looking at. So that's the next two. They also have where you can do a paid subscription or you can do a free trial just to see how your business is doing. And then the bottom three are blogs that I swear by. So you can subscribe to any of these blogs and you get like curated content to your email. You can set it up to how you want, once a day, once a week, once a month, only really important things. And this will keep you in touch with things like algorithm updates or big social changes or really anything that could majorly impact your website. So feel free to sign on and subscribe to any of those. They're completely free. So on that note, I have my LinkedIn handle here as well, and I will start looking at questions. I'm not sure if anybody's able to unmute yourself if you're able to ask a question. I'm not sure how this one is set up, but I will start kind of just looking through some of the questions, and the ones with like the most thumbs up, I'll start with. All right, so the first one that has the most thumbs up: how can high school and college students apply these same ideas regarding networking? So I took a stab at this one last night because I think it's such a great question for where we are right now. And one thing that I think a lot of people don't think about until it's already later on is that you are your brand currently. Without a brand, without an LLC, you are your brand. So social market you. Be sure that you are the one that really gets your name out there and does it in a way that makes sense for who you are. So go through all of your social profiles, make all of the pictures match. I know there's like that meme where everybody has a different personality on a different social. Don't do that. Have one personality and show it on social across the board. Don't do like kitschy names that you change all the time. Try to just keep it consistent and the same. It doesn't necessarily need to be your whole name. It could be your first name, last initial, something like that. But you can really decide to do it as you please, but just keep it consistent. Keep your about me's consistent, keep your message consistent. So if you're posting a lot about a certain topic, maybe that's when you can make sure that you're posting that to all different types of areas that you're looking at. So all the different platforms. I hope that answered that. What would be the top few things small businesses can do to their website to improve visibility on a tight budget? So pretty much everything I talked about was free. I think that's one of the best things about hacks are that you don't have to invest a ton of your own money into it. Yes, your time is money, so that is an investment that you would have to make. But I think if you're a budding entrepreneur, I think it's ready to buckle down because a lot of your time is going to be invested. But if you can start with these basics, learning a little bit of SEO, starting from the bottom, just really recrafting who your image is, who you want to be. So if this is brand.you, make it the best that it can be. So doing all of that on that scale, I think can be helpful, and then you can watch it grow over time. I think one other area that costs nothing is reviews. I think they're a little bit underrated, how impactful they are for a business, especially a small business. If you only get 5 reviews a month, those 5 reviews are so important. And people only leave reviews when they're really, really happy or really, really mad. So if you encourage those people in the middle, your everyday customers who are just happy, no problem, that's a really great way to start. And you can build a lot of momentum for you, for your blogs, for your content, for your website. So I think that that is the other way to do that on a tight budget. What is the best way to grab people's attention on a website? So I think it depends on the type of website. So if you are going to the website, so if you're on the search results page, you want to have that really captivating title tag and description right there, because that will be what encourages people to click into it. So if it doesn't say anything interesting or it's not anything compelling to your website, you're probably not going to get the click in the first place to even get to the website. Now, once you're on your website, it really depends on what you are looking for the outcome to be. So this could be anything from if you want leads, if you want clicks, if you want conversions. So if you're looking for leads, for instance, at the top, you would probably look at having like a forms section, something very clean, something very like screams in your face what you're here for, because people don't really love to shift around and look for stuff and where can I sign up for this, it's too complicated sometimes for customers as well as Google. They're not interested in searching too far either. So um, if you were to get negative reviews online, how should you approach them? In addition, should you make sudden edits with their feedback, or should you gradually uh, move into them to catch mistakes? That's a good question because yes, inevitably you will get negative reviews. My idea with that is that you, as a small business, you want to get riled. Like you want to defend your business, defend your employees. But taking a step back from it, I think, is the first step. So, having kind of in that content hub idea, you want to have a list of responses that you feel really confident in. If you need to run it past your lawyer or your friend or your partner or whoever, that is a really important first step. So, I would say craft some responses, know that you are going to get some negative reviews, and try not to take it personal. And when you're responding, don't ever say like you're wrong or I don't care about what you have to say, because other people are also seeing your response, so that's part of your image. So I would just make sure to be on top of your language and on what you want to say. So trying to make it right as much as possible. In some cases, you cannot, and just say, I'm really sorry for your experience today. If there's anything we can do to make it up to you, please reach out to me, and include a email or a phone number where they can call you, or both. Because getting it off of the review section is also a really good idea. You do not want to have like a back and forth conversation in the reviews. So just move them over to an email or a phone, and I mean, half the time it's something that you can probably fix. And if that's the case, then you also suggest to them that they change the review and say please and thank you. And I'm close on time, so I'm going to do, I think, one more. For the best method to encourage customers to leave reviews without coming across as desperate. So this one is funny, and I worked in retail management for quite a few years before this, and I know how it feels to be asking and asking. But really engaging with your customers during the process, I think, is important. So you're not just like ignoring your customers and then at the very end be like, oh, take my survey. Like, it doesn't feel very personal. If you are really surprising and delighting your customer along the way, by the time that you're at checkout or at the end of that service, you're going to be able to say, it would mean so much to me if you could go on to Yelp and leave a review, or, on Google or Facebook, they still have reviews as well. Just go in, chat, and leave your review. And it means a lot to me and my business. So thank you so much. Some people say share and not do it, and that's fine. You just want to make sure that you're offering in a way that makes them feel like it's an easy thing to do. If you can set up, it costs money usually, but you can set up like an automatic text, or at the bottom of your receipt, you can have it, and you can just remind them as they're going that that's an option for them to be able to do that. And then worst comes to worst, you can maybe go on social and request some reviews, or you can run a small contest, something like that. That could also work as well. All right, I still have 2 minutes, so I'm going to try one more. I'm 17 and I'm currently running my own coffee roasting business. I've been working very hard, reaching out to local businesses. I've gotten a lot of feedback with customers, but was wondering how to create more engaging content to better know and target my customers and future ones. I love this. I love this question so much. I wish I didn't have 2 minutes, but congratulations that you are running your own business at 17. That's amazing. And second, I would say your engaging content comes from what you find engaging. I am going to guess if you are that committed to your coffee roasting business, you are nerding out on a lot of coffee roasting content. So learning about everything that you know, and then practicing and having that expertise, and then passing it on to everyone else. I think that's really what you want to do. So you get excited about it, your customers will get excited about it. And then I think the last part to that is like targeting customers and future ones. So that's a lot of what I talked about, just sharing your message. So making sure that your blog also goes to your social media pages, and that you're sharing even just snippets of that blog on the social directly. And they can click into it if they want to learn more. But start with those teasers, start with things that like get you excited, because I will bet it also gets your customers excited. Okay, I think that's the end of the session. I don't want to run us over. Thank you all for attending today, and thank you so much to TechBridge for having me. I had a wonderful time, and I will continue to answer questions on the app after. Thank you.